9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Monday, everybody. This is your PR princess, your timelessly lead, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me, on this busy Monday. So much has happened over the weekend. I know it's kind of the elephant in the room, but we have a lot of stuff happening. But I am not alone to share this big news. I'm very happy to have her with me. She is my pageant sister, and I always love pageant girls, and who to say that you can't love wrestling and pageants at the same time. So I'm happy she's able to step in. I'm very happy to develop my pageant queen, wrestling sister, Victoria Waco.
Hey.
How are you?
I am doing good. Yes, so much has happened this weekend. I think I might be getting gray hair from it all.
It's a lot. It is very much a lot that has happened. Shout outs to cousin Ron. Happy Monday. Also, our producer from the future, Dylan, in the land down under. And before we even talk about anything, before we even talk about Raw first, we got some breaking news that actually happened before we got on the show. We have learned that, unfortunately, Naomi is not cleared for Monday Night Raw tonight, so she will not have her anticipated match against Io Sky tonight, and do wish her a speedy recovery. But Victoria, I just want to get your thoughts on this, because this actually happened right before we were getting on.
I saw the Twitter or the X or whatever we call it now, and I was so sad because I don't know what's wrong with her, but her momentum with this character and this heel and the perceived with caution has been like next level. So I'm so bummed for her that whatever this is, I hope it doesn't take her out for long, because this is like, she's just, the character development has been like chef's kiss.
Yeah, that's really the sucky part about this, because this actually came on like right before we were about to get on Raw, because we were excited about this match, but then we heard this news. But for some odd reason, and I don't know why, I just have a feeling it may be a triple threat match between Io, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquer. Reason I say that is it really sucks because Io did not get pinned. And you would think it would happen on Raw, but I just have this slight feeling it may happen at Clash in Paris.
That, I had not thought of that. That could be so interesting. And I love Stephanie. I think she's amazing. But imagine what her and Io could do. Like, I'm just envisioning the possibilities right now with those three in my head. And it could be next level.
That could be next level. And plus, Paris, we already know how the crowd in Paris is. We've seen them at Backlash in France. We've already seen them how they are overseas on Raw and SmackDown when they come to Paris. So they will be very excited. But we shall see what happens. And do want to wish Naomi a speedy recovery. And hopefully she gets back soon, because I am enjoying her character. But as we mentioned, we do have Monday Night Raw happening tonight in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We did hear announcements from Adam Pearce yesterday on socials. As we know who's going to kick off the show. CM Punk is going to kick off the show, and sure, he has some words to say towards Seth Rollins after the aftermath of SummerSlam. We're also going to see Sami Zayn taking on Rusev one-on-one. Also, this is a backyard for Sami Zayn because he is from Canada. And we're also going to see Maxine Dupree in her toughest test taking on the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch. All this happening and more. And Victoria, who are you? And actually, before I get to you, Monday Night Raw is happening at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on Netflix Live. So do not miss it. But Victoria, going back to you, is there anything that interest you on Monday Night Raw happening tonight?
I mean, whenever CM Punk is on the mic, it's fire. So we know it's going to be an awesome intro. I'm wondering, though, if we're going to maybe see LA Knight barge in after what happened. So I'm curious who might also be involved. I, though, want to give it to Maxine Dupree. I feel like she's been working so hard. Naomi has really taken her under her wing. So I'm excited to see what this could be. I'm hoping it's a little redemption arc for her after kind of, not doing the best in matches. So, and I think that she's in with the best person she could be in. I think that we all know that she's going to be led and helped along in this match, but I just want a redemption moment for Maxine. So I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, actually, I'm very excited to see Maxine Dupree because she has been working a lot in the ring with the boat Natalia. I mean, those two have been very, very close and connected. And if you saw the social post with Maxine, she has been training super hard for this big, big match against Becky Lynch. And I know these two are definitely going to really go at it with each other, and want to see some moves by Maxine. We may see some unexpected wrestling moves that we may not see. So, but as Bosa said, it is a non-title match with Becky Lynch. The title is not on the line, but of course, we will see the boat at ringside. Also, with the fact too, like you said, I'm pretty sure we'll see LA Knight, because with the fact, if you saw the end of Raw, CM Punk and Roman all got in with each other. So that's also something too, because the new trifecta with Seth and the Brawns, they've been attacking LA Knight, they've been attacking CM Punk, but they just really need to lash it out with each other. So we shall see with the common enemy, but I do think it will be a 6-man tag team match between Roman, CM Punk, and LA Knight taking on Seth and the Brawns. But we shall see on that. All this happening on Monday Night Raw at the top of the hour. And that is your Raw preview. But of course, we have to address the elephant in the room, because this has been circulating throughout the whole weekend. Karrion Kross.
It is so sad. Well, if it's true, it is so sad. Or it will be the most epic swerve we've seen in a long time. I have a running joke. My husband knows this. I'm obsessed with Scarlett. I think she's fabulous. I think everything about her is amazing, and I love them as a package. And so I'm just curious to see what is going to happen next. It seems like they're really gone. I mean, their t-shirts up now on Pro Wrestling Tees. They're apparently taking bookings, but who knows? You just never know anymore.
It's really interesting, because I've been following the story a lot the last couple of weeks, because there's been times where some people say, oh, their contracts are expired. Are they going to re-sign or not? And going to release? And also, you kind of go back with what happened with R-Truth. There's just so many things. Is it real? Is it a work? Is it everything else? And I'm going to put my PR cap on and my insider lens on this one, because there's a lot of questions with this. And also with the fact too, we did see Scarlett tweet out over the weekend, actually yesterday, where her and Karrion Kross are now accepting bookings. They're accepting bookings right now. And so far, some of them have already taken bookings. But Scarlett, you're more than welcome to come on Women's Wrestling Talk with us. We're more than happy to. But I think it's just one of those things. And even for me, I have to be careful too, because we always want to make sure with insiders, because a lot of times some of these wrestling, and this is no shade to some of like the wrestling media outlets like Uncle Dave, Fightful, like anybody else, but a lot of times we don't know what happens behind closed doors. And especially when it comes to contracts, because contracts can be very funny. They can be very funny and interesting, because we don't know how much the money's going to go, or the back end when it comes to contract, or also if they have agents too. That's also something to really think about. So there's a lot of layers to really consider. And also with the fact too, it's just being mindful of it and being very careful, especially when you report it. And then sometimes when you post it, 5 minutes later, it comes back a whole different story. So it's just really being mindful, especially when it comes to reports like this in contracts, negotiations, releases. And as I mentioned, especially when we had it with R-Truth, people thought like, oh, he's going to be released, but also he came back and signed a contract. So I would not be shocked if it was under the rug, that Carrion and Scarlett's deal. So that's something I would not be surprised if it's under the rug, closed doors, or something else to happen. But we shall see. And this is a developing story that's happening. I would not be shocked if the fans chanted, "We want Cross" either tonight, tomorrow for NXT, and Friday on SmackDown. But this is a story that we will be closely following and developing. So we shall see on that.
We should. And if anyone saw, Uncle Howdy had a really kind of cryptic message. That was the part where I thought it might be a work, is he kind of pointed to that maybe Cross could be aligned with them, which was talked about also in the big, if you haven't had a chance to watch the Killer 2 documentary that was just also released. So who knows? I'm like, I won't be surprised by anything at this point.
I know, Sindel, honey, my other WWT sister. She's a huge fan of Karrion Kross. She's been an advocate for Karrion Kross since she's been on here, and I know she would have had a lot to say regarding Karrion Kross and Scarlett's situation. But we shall see on this, because this will be a story that will be happening all week, and I'm sure she's going to be giving a lot of her say on the Kayfabe podcast later this week. But we shall follow this story. This story is definitely developing, so be on the lookout for that. But if it does happen, do wish Karrion and Scarlett the best. And this is not the only thing that's happened over the weekend. Ashanti the Adonis announced he is exiting WWE. This report actually happened over the weekend by Fightful, that it was announced actually on social media yesterday that Ashanti announced that after 6 years with WWE, he would be leaving the company. And he noted that he's looking forward to be able to show the world what he can really do in the squared circle. And Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this. And where do you think next is going to be for Ashanti the Adonis?
If I was him, I would go to New Japan. If he can get in. Like, I think that would be a really great move for him. I think he could build himself up. I think his style could work well there. But it is always a bummer when you're someplace that long, and I don't think they've truly saw his value, or maybe he didn't sell his value enough. You know, there's tons of stuff backstage. We just don't know what's happening.
I think for this one, it's going to be very interesting. I know I wasn't very interested in his character in NXT, but I do not want to see anybody get out of their job. I do not want to see anybody get released at the end of the day, because I feel like this whole year we have seen people get released and go to other companies and figure out what's what. But I know you said New Japan. I would like for him to go to TNA. The reason I said TNA is because he has been wrestling there a lot the last couple of weeks, and we have seen people who have got released, got picked up in TNA. We've seen Indy Hartwell now in TNA. We have seen Mara Sade, formerly known as Jakara Jackson. We've seen the Inspiration come back, formerly known as the Iconics. So I wouldn't mind seeing him be in TNA, and sometimes it would be really great for him, and also getting an opportunity to kind of be in that picture, not only in the international title division, but I would love to see him be in the X division title picture with Leon Slater. I think that would be really good for him. Also, I would not be surprised if he reunited with his former tag team partner under First Class, with the fact that Casey Navarro got kicked out and Rich Swann is back in, and also the alignment that they have with Trick Williams. But TNA seems like a good opportunity for him. But do want to wish Ashanti the Adonis the best of luck and in his future endeavors. And also, we've had some reports, and we have another person who got released from WWE, Braun Strowman. And this was actually a very interesting story that I read. Apparently, we know earlier this year he got released from the company in that huge mass cutting right after WrestleMania. He recently took to social media to blast WWE for continuing to use his image in their promotional materials. And it really began when a fan on the social media platform, I'll call it Twitter, pointed out that Strowman was featured heavily in WWE's SummerSlam promotional content, including on the WWE Unveiled docuseries and in the pre-show video packages. And the fan tagged Triple H and questioned why Strowman was cut if his likeness was still being used. And also his response to that, because someone made a stupid business decision, and also with the fact too that public frustration because he still had a project with the company that was set to be released. His new food series, Everything on the Menu with Braun Strowman, which was produced by WWE Studios, is supposed to premiere on the USA Network this fall. And the whole full social media exchange can be found on his Twitter account. Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this with Braun Strowman and everything else. And also, was he wrong in everything that he said?
I mean, I love Braun. I was very sad to see him go. I do get with his age and his injuries why, and he was moving slower, why they felt like cutting him was smart. I do think that maybe it wasn't long enough image because they could get some free like double end publicity with his show being on USA. Like maybe some like parts of the company weren't talking to each other when the decision was made, because that seems like an odd gap that they're usually really good about not doing. Like they would hold on to him until they got all the money they could out of him. Them using his image, that's just the name of the game. I mean, they use wrestlers who have been gone for a long time from the company because they have the right to the image. But yeah, I do think with this show, when I heard that, I was kind of shocked. Like someone wasn't talking to someone.
Yeah, that's always the sucky part about it, especially if you get released and everybody's using your face. I just hope he gets a check. That's all I have to say. I'm hoping at least he gets a check. And with the fact that his show is supposed to be premiering in the fall before he's released, I would think at least he would get some kind of check. Because I don't think he's wrong on some points, especially with the fact, because if somebody used my stuff, especially if after I left and I'm being used on promotional stuff and everything else, I would probably be a little bit teed off, and I would probably reach out to the board of like WWE, TKO, Endeavor, and be like, hey, I would like at least a cut of the check.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, hey, I can't knock it for that because I would be paid too. And yeah, with Braun Strowman. And also I'm surprised they didn't do similar with Omos. I know with Omos they're trying to make him like this lifetime human figure over in Japan or something else, but they could have done something similar with Braun. But that's a conversation for another day with Braun Strowman. And also with that, Naomi's not the only person that's injured. Adriana Rizzo. This actually happened over the weekend where she tore her ACL and meniscus injury. She announced her injury on a post on her social media accounts, and she referenced a string of bad luck with injuries, but she's also said she's ready to put in the work to come back and be 100% healthy for the first time in her WWE career. So, Victoria, I just want to get your thoughts regarding Rizzo on on the status of this, because we don't like to see wrestlers get hurt, but also what's going to be next for her when she comes back 100% healthy.
You know, this one broke my heart, especially an ACL is not an easy injury to come back from. And especially I'm worried because the women's division at NXT moves quickly. They're amazing stars. There's tons of talent there. and she could easily be forgotten and or lost in that mix. So that's a bummer. I hope she heals up quickly. I hope she gets the best treatment she can. And she comes back and is able to like re-find her spot in that lineup, because it does move so quickly over there.
Yeah, Rizzo was definitely somebody that was very interesting. I know she was with the D'Angelo family, but seeing her be on her own a bit and just really be in that one-on-one action, I thought at least like she could take it. And since I started watching NXT within the last year, this is really interesting. And also, kind of like you said, there's no room for errors, especially with a loaded women's division they have. Everything goes quickly. I mean, we see who is the NXT Women's Champion and also the TNA Knockouts Champion. We also see Lash Legend going one-on-one with Nia Jax, and Sol Ruka being the NXT North American Women's Champion, and people are pushing for her to be on the main roster. So there's no breaks in time. And also with the fact too, you also see the people from Evolve. You see people from WWE Evolve, and now it's a possibility they may be coming to NXT. We also have LFG. They're in their second season, and a lot of people in the Performance Center are hungry for a lot of action and championship gold. But I do wish Rizzo the best of luck with her injury. And as Dylan said, it does suck, especially if you tore ACL. We've seen this happen not just in wrestling, but we've seen it happen in the world of sports, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, soccer, any type of sport. Nobody should suffer from a torn ACL. And do want to wish her a speedy recovery. Do you want to do that? Also, quick news regarding AEW. This is actually very interesting. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me. Oh. Okay, here we go. So, there it is. So just a little quick news that happened over the weekend on Collision, where we do have a big match this upcoming weekend. We have 4 of the best technicians out there. Hechicero, Nigel McGuinness. You're not seeing a ghost. This is Nigel freaking McGuinness. Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia. They're going to be in a fatal 4-way match. And the winner gets a shot against Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door for the IWGP Championship. And I'm actually looking forward to this match. And Victoria, I know you do watch every now and then AEW, but is there somebody that you would like to see go up against Zack Sabre Jr.?
I mean, I had to refresh it a couple of times when I saw Nigel. I was like, are we, is this real? Are we really? But so I think, I don't know, I have a soft spot for him, and just because of how his career kind of was shortened for a little while, and, you know, he moved into a different part of wrestling. So I don't know. I kind of just want to give it to him. I just feel like it would be such a great story. Can his body physically do it? That's the big question. We saw him in the one match. He did well. And if, you know, he's done a couple of other things, but that's just my one concern. As much as I'd like that match, I don't know for his health if it's the best option.
I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I want to see Nigel McGuinness against Zack Sabre Jr. The reason I say that is because, as you know, I watch AEW on a frequent basis. If you saw the confrontation they had last year at Wembley Stadium between Zack Sabre Jr. and Nigel McGuinness, the crowd was going nuts in Nigel's home country. Also with the fact, too, I've seen him wrestle recently. He did wrestle at Double or Nothing, where he teamed up with Daniel Garcia to take on FTR. His match versus Lee Moriarty for the Ring of Honor Pro Championship, that was a banger of a match. And for him, it looked like he did not miss a beat. It looked like he didn't miss a beat. He looks 100% healthy. And this was really, really awesome to do. And yes, Dylan, it's at Forbidden Door. And also with the fact it is in his home country of London, England. So it would be nice for him to have a really good homecoming opportunity for him. Honest, I'm going to tell you something. If I don't know if it's going to happen, but if Nigel McGuinness wins some gold, I'm just saying. I'm just saying the crowd would be on their feet. it would be interesting on how he would do commentary, because he also does commentary with Tony Schiavone on Collision. But that would be very interesting to see, and also seeing the friendship that he has with him and Daniel Garcia. But I'm picking Nigel McGuinness for this. It's definitely going to be a banger of a match later this week on AEW Collision. Winner of this match gets a face-off against Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door in London, England. Also, I wonder who they'll bring in to help. Yeah, that would be interesting, especially if Nigel McGuinness wins. But I'm bringing Nigel McGuinness. He's starting to grow on me, even though he doesn't say not nice things about Bryan Danielson. But I think deep down he cares about Bryan Danielson. But that's just me. Also, a little bit of AEW news, because we got some people that have resigned. Kyle Fletcher had a big match over the weekend for the TNT title, and courtesy of Fightful, it has been confirmed that Kyle Fletcher signed an extension within AEW. We have seen this in the last couple days, from Queen Aminata to the Gates of Agony to Willow Nightingale, all being re-signed in AEW. Yes, he's the Aussie protostar. He's the Aussie protostar. But Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts regarding, how do you feel about Kyle Fletcher re-signing, and also did AEW do the smart move?
I think they absolutely did. I think he's a great talent. I think it just doesn't make sense not to keep him around. He can do so much, and there's so much more storylines and things you can do with him in that title, that I'm super excited about him just having a home still.
Yeah, because the last couple days, as I mentioned, Queen Aminata, Kyle Fletcher, the Gates of Agony, even Dustin did an extension, and Willow. I'm really happy, Tony Khan, because he's thinking about the future of AEW, because as I said, Mercedes can't wrestle forever. Athena can't wrestle forever. Tony can't wrestle forever. Even though I love my client, she can't wrestle forever.
Does that hurt you to say?
It doesn't, because when you kind of have to think about the big picture, you have to really think about the future. Like, who is going to lead into the future for AEW? And I think of people like not just Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, Willow Nightingale, Alex Windsor, Queen Aminata, as I mentioned, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, so many other people leading it for the future. I will throw in Castor and Anthony Bowens as well, leading into that future. And that's just something to really think about, because AEW is in year number 6. And as I mentioned, same thing with Mercedes. Young Bucks can't wrestle forever. Kenny Omega can't wrestle forever. Okada can't wrestle forever. So this is where you have to think on who is your future stars. Who's your future stars within AEW? Tony Storm can't wrestle forever. Dylan. If Victoria, if you don't know, Dylan's from Australia. He doesn't think Tony Storm is Australian because she was born in New Zealand, and then she went to the UK for a bit for training. So, but I think deep down he loves Tony Storm. He loves Tony Storm. He just doesn't want to admit it. Oh my goodness. And
in AEW news, we also have Darby Allin, right?
Yes, but also congratulations again to Kyle Fletcher. Congratulations on getting that deal. I can't believe I'm saying this. That creep Don Callis has done a good job being a manager. I will give that creep Don Callis credit. I mean, he's doing well with the Don Callis family. Hopefully we get to see Kyle Fletcher have a memorable, not just matches, but also memorable storylines to holding the TNT championship. So congratulations to Kyle Fletcher, the Aussie protostar. And as you mentioned, Darby Allin. This man is just, we've seen him come back from All in Texas, and even though when he is stalking the Death Riders, he's fresh from climbing up Mount Everest, and he's back in the fold. But Darby is not the person to shield away from adventure, and he actually has another goal in mind. He was speaking to Steve O on Wild Ride, and he was asked about his next adventure. He quoted, "I'm literally stopping and smelling the roses right now. I just want to be focused on being grounded as possible. I do want to go to space. As I got down from Mount Everest, I made it a point to myself. I'm not going to try and fill this void with X amount of crazy stuff." I was like, "Stop and smell the effing roses," he said.
I mean, one, I agree with him. Like, let's take a pause and like maybe get back into the fold at AEW. But also, does this mean that Tony Khan might have to get the rights to Rocket Man for him at some point? That was my first thing I thought of. Like, what other song could you use for him if he goes to space?
I mean, I don't even know. Hey, look, I give credit to Darby Allin. That man is a risk taker. He's willing to do anything, almost anything, to the next level, and very proud of him, especially going into space. I mean, hey, if he can climb up Mount Everest, he can do almost anything, even though he's very crazy and he's done a lot of crazy things. But he's also put out a challenge to Jon Moxley at Forbidden Door. Hopefully he gives him an answer by Wednesday. And yes, Bosie, he did, because he kidnapped that little runt Wheeler Yuta in a heartbeat, and I was laughing about it. So he really wants the Death Riders, but I wouldn't mind seeing Darby Allin. I mean, Darby Allin's done a lot of crazy things. You can't knock it for that, especially climbing Mount Everest. You can't even knock him for it. So, Darby, if you want to go to space, you go to space. Just make sure to come back down safely. And plus, unfortunately, you have other people that are quote unquote unqualified to go to space. So, if they can go, why not Darby? Just have to make sure he goes through proper training.
Could you imagine being in like the spaceship though with him? Like a normal, like, will he have the full face? Like, will he have the face done? Like, I'm just imagining other people on that ship being like, "Who is this guy?"
I don't know. Do it. But Dylan, to be fair, Darby beating Mox for the title was a missed opportunity. Well, we're gonna see on that, because I'm thinking long term on this, because I do think Darby is gonna get the title, just not yet. Not yet. I do think a lot's going to happen, because Hangman is a champion. He still has to deal with MJF. By the way, MJF still has to deal with Mystico. So there's a lot of layers to this. But I do think Darby will get an opportunity for the title. It's just people got to be patient. But this is wrestling fans. Wrestling fans don't want to be patient, right?
Never.
They don't want it. And Bosa put a question in. Who from New Japan or CMLL could team with Darby versus the Death Riders? Ooh. That's actually a good question.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that possibility. Oh, Dylan has a good idea.
Oh my goodness. Well, a fact. Really? Well, the fact they were married. But
that's why I'm like, they might end up hurting each other more than they hurt the other team in that situation.
I don't even know. I think for this one, I don't know why, because this is very interesting, because right before Forbidden Door, they're going to be wrapping up the G1 tournament over in Japan. And I'm trying to think who would be there from either New Japan or CMLL. I could see maybe Atlantis or Atlantis Jr. teaming up with Darby Allin, because they're part of CMLL and they're a popular luchador, so that could be something. And also, I forgot the name of this luchador because Bryan Danielson admires him. And he actually wore his mask when he came back at All in Texas. I forgot his name, but he could team up with him. And the New Japan side, my mind's drawing a little bit of a blank, because I'm trying to think who familiar from that space would be. I mean, maybe Darby Allin could call up Ish from the conglomeration. We could call up Mark Briscoe from the conglomeration, so he can use Ish. Or maybe Kota Ibushi, because he teamed up with Kenny Omega. And I'm sure Kenny Omega, because we haven't seen Kenny Omega since Texas, so that could be something. So there's a lot of possibilities floating out there, and I'm sure by Wednesday or next week we could see who is going to be from New Japan and CMLL. Actually, I would not be surprised if we see Tanahashi. I would not be shocked at all.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, because he's on his farewell tour as well, and he'll be done in 2026.
And we know Darby is very good with, I mean, him and Sting work very well together, and he was good at, you know, helping Sting at his age, you know, still show up and do all the things he does really well. So he's proven he works with veterans like that really well.
Yeah. So yeah, because him and Sting were a good tag team, and like I said, I would not be surprised if Tanahashi got involved somehow, some way involved. But it'd be very interesting with the Death Riders, because we know Gabe Kidd, he's out with a serious injury. That's why he couldn't compete for the G1 tournament. So I don't know, because John probably knows some people within New Japan. Don't let him fool you. Do not let him fool you. But Darby Allin, he wants to go to space, but also, and I'm actually going to remove this because I didn't have an image for this. So John Cena, because I can't believe it's almost at the countdown. John Cena has named his wrestling soulmates. And this was a report that was done by Fightful, but also over the span of his 20-year career, Cena squared off with many of the top talent that has been featured throughout WWE. While speaking at the Boston Fan Expo, courtesy of the Boston Herald that reported this, Cena was asked about his wrestling soulmates, naming some of his biggest rivals over the years, in addition to his recent rival Cody Rhodes. He quoted, "I have a few wrestling soulmates. Those are Randy Orton, Edge, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles. But gosh, I can't take any shine away from Cody Rhodes and Adam too. And throughout his retirement tour, as we've seen, he's faced off with many of his wrestling soulmates, as he had final bouts with Randy Orton, CM Punk, most recently Cody Rhodes, and more. And as we mentioned, he's scheduled to retire later this year, and he is set to face Logan Paul at Clash in Paris."
I mean, so of that list, the next most possible person for him to face is AJ Styles, right? Because sadly, I think my favorite rivalry he had was Edge. I just think it was, I mean, with his dad being involved, it was just at another level of just where they went with that storyline. And sadly, we will not most likely get to see a final round of him and Edge, which does break my heart a little bit. But yeah, of that list, AJ Styles is the one left. And notice who wasn't on that list, they're teasing him facing any day now.
Yep. Edge was definitely his most, because I remember watching that entire rivalry, and it was very personal. Like, he invaded Cena's house. He slapped his father in the face right before SummerSlam. That was very crazy to watch, and also it was just very personal for those two. I think somebody said it was kind of like Lex Luger and Superman, with Edge and John Cena having that superhero reference. That was actually an interesting rivalry. Obviously, him versus Randy Orton was oh my goodness, like, they've known each other from OVW days. That's like so much history with there. Of course, AJ Styles, him versus AJ Styles, that was really good. And also with the fact too, it would be interesting for him to face AJ Styles. And also, I'm trying to see how that's gonna play out, because I know AJ Styles still has some business with Dom, and he wants that Intercontinental title from Dominic Mysterio. That's the only thing. But like I said, we're going to see Logan Paul facing John Cena at Clash in Paris in a couple of weeks. Does John Cena wrestling soulmates have to sign? I don't think you have to sign a relationship contract.
It's 15 pages.
I don't know about that. Cope ain't getting out of that contract. Dylan, why you gotta make fun of Edge?
Dylan's on fire this morning. What have you had 2 cups of coffee? What's going on over there in the land down under?
Well, he's from Australia and it's morning over there. He's in the future. He's like in the next day. So he's on fire. Oh my goodness. Don't be making fun of Edge. It's that look. Leave Edge be. He's trying to do the best he can in AEW, even though he's faced off against that Weasel Stokely on Wednesday. Victoria.
Okay.
There you go. It's 9 a.m. Cena's last run being, well, yeah, I don't think it's lame. It's just kind of getting a little, not nostalgia, but also taking a trip back in time to some of his opponents. And especially if you witness John Cena's entire career, especially going back when he started in 2002, you kind of realize that some of the milestones and rivalries he had are actually very important in wrestling. And also with fans, because some fans have not seen John in his title run. They actually got in when he was Super Cena as a babyface. So, of course, they probably got around the time with Edge and Randy, but also it does bring back a lot of nostalgia and memories. So I don't think it's lame, but it's nice to take a trip back in time and also revisiting. I will say this, I will never forget when CM Punk came out in the Thugonomics and he just really dissed Cena. So that was definitely a callback. That was a callback.
Those dueling promos of the pipe bomb rehash and that were some of this chef's kiss finest moment. And you could tell they were loving it. Like you could tell they were like in the pocket, knew what they were doing, and ready to roll with it. And I do like seeing him face the older, going back to some of the older rivalries. I find it really cool to see some of them I didn't actively see, in my time watching wrestling. But I do, the thing with Cody, I thought was very interesting too. I'd like to see maybe a rub on one more younger guy. Maybe it is Logan Paul. Maybe that's his next generation rub he'll give. But yeah, I'm curious how they're going to wrap this up because we only have a couple months if he really is done in December.
Yeah, so far it's 8. It was 9, but now it's 8. So we shall see. Hopefully he does a round 2 with R-Truth. Or is it Ron Killings? I don't know. Maybe we get to see him versus Joe Hendry in the future. Maybe an interaction with Joe Hendry.
I mean, talk about giving a rub to the next generation. That's a passing of baton for sure.
Well, we shall see with John because we do have a few months with him left. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, he will be facing Logan Paul at Clash in Paris. We also had some interesting news that happened regarding, because as we were talking about Clash in Paris, we've had some interesting conversations regarding WWE PLEs. Apparently, allegedly, reportedly scheduled for the same day as AEW All Out. So in a major competitive move, WWE is reportedly planning to run a PLE on Saturday, September 20th, which is the same day as AEW's All Out pay-per-view in Toronto, Canada. And the move will mark the first time a main roster WWE PLE will air in direct competition with an AEW pay-per-view. And according to a report from Post Wrestling, multiple sources have confirmed that a yet-to-be-announced WWE PLE will take place in Indianapolis, Indiana. And as I mentioned, while NXT's brand has held PLE events on the same day as AEW in the past, also with Heat Wave being on the same day as Forbidden Door this year, this would be the first time a main roster event like this has been scheduled as direct counter programming. The start time for the WWE event has not been confirmed, but AEW All Out is scheduled to begin its main card at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I want to get your thoughts on this, Victoria, because this is actually something we've talked about on here regarding counter programming and also Is this a good strategic move or not so great strategic move from WWE's end?
I think it's a pointless one. I don't really feel like you're going to gain. You're not, right? It's not about gaining more in this case. It's about helping someone else lose things more often. If this is truly their strategy they're going with now. I think it's kind of pointless. I think that they're clearly the leader. All they're doing in this is actually drawing more attention to there's another option. Oh, and by the way, the tickets are probably cheaper. So if you're a wrestling fan who wants to go see live wrestling, they're just reminding you have another option on the same day somewhere else that could be a better fit for you. So I could see it actually backfiring a little bit for them. I don't think it's going to hurt their margins horribly, but I also think it's just petty and beneath someone. Like you don't punch down, right? That's the old saying. You don't punch down. And I think it's not it's not WCW and, Turner, whatever. This is a totally different beast. And I'm all about competition in wrestling. I think it helps wrestlers have more options to make money. I think it helps fans have more options to watch. But yeah, I think ultimately, like, I might go to the Toronto show. Like, they're equal distances for me, and I would get more wrestling for a lower price, most likely.
I'm gonna rip off the Band-Aid on this one because I was ripping off the Band-Aid because I just think it's very petty. I get what AEW in the past, they had said a lot of things about WWE, but this is not the first time that's happened, especially as I mentioned, Heatwave is colliding with Forbidden Door. We've already seen it happen in Atlanta, where All in Texas had to collide with NXT's Great American Bash. And also the fact, too, they had to do with Saturday night's main event. So it's very hard to say. And also with the fact, too, AEW tries to plan their pay-per-view events in advance because they want to make sure they don't clash with WWE events, especially when it comes to Collision too, because sometimes they have to collide with Thursday, so they want to do it on Saturdays depending on WWE PLEs. I just think it's kind of a little bit petty that they're doing this, and also with the fact too, you kind of mentioned this, Victoria, money. I think everything has to be about money, and also seeing how it is moving forward. And also with the fact too, you have to think like a bang for your buck. Okay, yes, looking at ticket sales, that could be steep. And also with this new deal that's happening with WWE, ESPN, airing all the PLEs, $29.99, $30 a month. That's also another layer too. But I mean, I'm all good for friendly competition, but at the same time, it's just petty. It's just very petty. And also with the fact too, it kind of really is a hard to do. Like, we just had SummerSlam earlier this month. They're already getting for Clash in Paris. Also have to deal with Crown Jewel in Australia. Then you have Survivor Series. And also, I didn't mention this weekend, AAA is having a pay-per-view this weekend. So we shall see on that. But sometimes competition is great, but also have to be very strategic on that. Well, MD, to be fair, yes, WWE has the PLEs and they do have the 5 matches, but AEW has been doing pretty good with their pay-per-views. They have been doing very good. I know people are like, oh, well, it's very long because sometimes they go for 5-6 hours, which is very, very long. But they do put on solid pay-per-views. And that seems to be their strongest key point when it comes to that. Because sometimes some of the matches, even though it tends to be on Dynamite, they do have stronger matches on the pay-per-views. Now, all of them are not the best matches, but at least they do have some matches at least. And also, with the fact too, recently, people even said All in Texas was one of the best pay-per-views AEW put on so far in their 60-year history. So I just want to be fair. And exactly, Boza, I'm waiting for them to stream on HBO Max, because if they stream on HBO Max, that would be a total money saver and everything else. And also with the fact they did save on Warner Brothers. So I'm giving AEW the benefit of the doubt. I mean, sure, they've had some messiness and hiccups in between, but they've been around for 6 years. They've been around for 6 years. I mean, WWE's been around forever. They're a juggernaut. We already know they're the top wrestling company in the world. So they are going to continue putting out the PLEs. They're still going to continue putting out money. And maybe they don't want to admit that maybe AEW is serious competition with them. Maybe because they didn't realize it when they first started. But I mean, and also both of that too. They had to perform in the pandemic and they had to learn to pivot, especially when they came in 2019, right before the pandemic. So, but yeah, it's just the money part with close to $60. It's very hard to watch. And also with the fact too, they are on Amazon Prime. I just kind of wish Amazon Prime did a package for anybody that pays for it, especially if they watch AEW pay-per-views, but that's just me. That's just me in a way, but AEW is still going to continue it. We're going to get the PLEs. Everybody's going to watch it. And if you don't, like I said last Friday, if you don't like or trash AEW, don't watch it. Like, do not watch your pay-per-views. And that's okay. You can still watch WWE. If you don't want to watch WWE, that's fine. If you want to watch TNA, that's fine too. Like, not everybody's going to like AEW, but we're going to see what happens in the coming weeks. But a little bit of TKO news since we were talking about the PLEs. So TKO's Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro wanted to get rid of the old pay-per-view motto, and Shapiro describes it as adequate. That's, inadequate. Pretty much, and actually this kind of goes back to not WWE, but it also goes back to the UFC deal that actually happened today. It actually happened today regarding UFC, and pretty much a deal has been announced that will bring UFC premium events to Paramount Plus service following the announcement. And also, just a little quick FYI, TKO underneath the umbrella is not just WWE, but also with UFC. So he's pretty much talking about the deal. Ari Emanuel and TKO Chief Operating Officer Mark Shapiro joined CNBC Squawk on the Street to discuss the UFC deal. And Emanuel shared the note that the deal was closed in 48 hours and quoted, "Well, it was the marketplace that was the bidder and many different configurations. It came together in 48 hours after it was multiple players for different configurations of our content. Pay-per-view fight nights, as you know, we have 13 pay-per-views, 30 fight nights, and once his deal's closed, they jump in very quickly. And Mark and team, after we kind of figured out the economics, all the other stuff, Mark and team figured out. Both Shapiro and Emanuel stated that they wanted to get rid of the old pay-per-view model, and Shapiro went on to describe it as antiquated, and a barrier for their fans to get the product. Manuel quotes, "The business of TKO for Mark and I is kind of purpose-built for where the streaming," and Mark has said Netflix, they want big events, so we're going to do the boxing event in September. They have WWE internationally. ESPN wanted a big event. Our big event, which is our PLEs domestically, they got now. David Ellison wants to build his streaming service. We want to broadcast. We want to get rid of the old model pay-per-view. That's what TKO, as we envision, is a long time built. Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this, especially with this, and also the news that happened regarding UFC signing with Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I will, excited for UFC. My biggest shock is, they kept talking about when TKO was formed, right? That they could do mutual bargaining and work together and that kind of stuff. So it's just very confusing to me that you are again splitting, what's under your umbrella product wise. So now, I'm now having to get ESPN to watch the PLEs, which I have loved Peacock and paying $10 a month to get everything outside of now, of course, Raw and the Raw Voltage stuff because they moved that over to Netflix. I really thought they were going to Netflix. That was what I thought was going to happen when the Peacock deal ended. Everything was going to go to Netflix. So, like excited for like UFC fans and like having the ability to watch some of that now on Peacock. Don't know, like it's still to me a little unclear what else is staying on Peacock for WWE, if anything. So if nothing's staying on there, do I really need my Peacock membership anymore? Plus I'm paying more now for ESPN. But like I'm sure that will all come out in due time. I am very happy with the idea of the pay-per-view model going away. Just again, the cost of everything. If I'm already having to pay for streaming, I like it being included.
So do want to give shout outs to UFC on the deal that happened. I know we do have two people on our panel that do watch boxing, and they probably give their thoughts on this as well. Yes, it does announce some money. I don't have a problem with that. And even with the big fights as well, because the only time I hear about the big fights is when it was on pay-per-views, and that's when people had to put money in. But with this new deal and streaming on Paramount Plus, it does save some costs as well. Even as we mentioned with WWE and ESPN airing the PLEs. Also, we've heard about ESPN also acquiring NFL Network. They're trying to be at least the #1 network in sports to cover everything, including MMA boxing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. But, I mean, if it does include the pay-per-views, kudos to them. Congrats to UFC on this deal with Paramount Plus. So lots has happened. And we also have our final story before we get out of here. Lola Vice, right before her big match this weekend at AAA, according to PWInsider.com, Lola Vice has signed a new deal with WWE. This announcement actually happened. Let me pull this up right here. So as I mentioned, a new report from PWInsiderElite.com has confirmed that the rising star and former MMA fighter Lola Vice has signed a new contract to remain with WWE. The deal was reportedly finalized before her previous contract was set to expire. And Vice's existing deal was scheduled to expire this summer, but the company locked in the new agreement before that could happen, and the length of the new contract has not been disclosed. Victoria, just want to get your quick thoughts on Lola Vice staying with WWE under the NXT umbrella.
So happy. I think she is amazing. I love the character. I love her look. I love her ring gear she comes out in. I just love, and I can't wait to see what else she does, because she, I think, is this great example of someone going from like professional fighting, you know, like into pro wrestling, and how to do it so well and so seamlessly. I just love her whole presentation, and I can't wait to see more of her.
I'm very happy for Lola Vice, and I'm pretty sure our other panelists said, who has been a good representative of Lola Vice, he would be happy to see her staying underneath the NXT umbrella. I got to watch her since I started watching NXT for the last couple months, but she has been a workhorse. I'm very happy to see her really get into that, and she has done really good in the underground matches. The recent underground match with Jada Parker, she has shown up in NXT. Of course, she's definitely going to be a major contribution with the partnership between WWE and AAA. The big match she has this weekend. So she really is drawing a crowd within the Latin community, and also really continuing to build up her craft within WWE, NXT. Hopefully we do get to see her have some gold in the NXT realm before she gets called up to the main roster. But also, as I mentioned, NXT's women's roster is loaded. So she is putting in all the work that she can, making sure she stands out from the rest. And hopefully we get to see her back on NXT television soon.
Absolutely. Woohoo.
Yes,
Congrats to her, though.
Yes, but congratulations to Lola Vice on signing her extension. And we do get to see her still be a part of NXT. And hopefully we get to see her on the roster soon. And that actually wraps up our stories that we had on a busy Monday today.
It was. And I still feel like things keep developing more and more. Like every time I check Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, there's like a new link to something happening, be it a signing, an injury, stuff going on with Cross. It's just, we'll have hopefully know more by, Wednesday, or have more clarity.
We should have more. Why Victoria Rising, Mike?
I will pay you for that.
Oh my goodness. This is just something. But yeah, it's been a busy Monday. We had so much news happening, but we have to wrap up because it is time, because we got to get ready for Monday Night Raw. But Victoria, where can the people find you?
So you can find me on all platforms at Victoria Waco, just my name. I'm super boring. And yeah, all of them, all the same.
You are not boring. She does have good content, but the people can find me chirping sporadically on WWT Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They know Wednesdays is Timeless Elite Wednesday with yours truly, not CEO Wednesday. It is Timeless Elite Wednesday, where we're going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're still on the road to AEW Forbidden Door. Lots of action happening, so you do not want to miss my watch along there. Please make sure to follow at CourtneyNJ11 on all the content that I have. I do have some content up. I'm almost getting ready to post, because we're getting ready to post my interviews from WrestleCon with Francine and Indy Hartwell. I just sent it over to Boss Lady, so hopefully she sets it up this week and we can get those going. But it was really fun interviewing the both of them. So fun to do that. Also, make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling, because yours truly is on commentary, and we do have some shows happening for the fall, for winter, so make sure to follow that. And also Saturday, September 27th in Parsippany, myself and Honey will be at 90s Wrestling Con. So shout outs to ISPW Wrestling, shout outs to Tommy Fierro and the Wrestling Collector for having women's wrestling talk in the building. And also, I did tell us in the chat, and I'm going to say this with all of you. Tomorrow is actually my 1-year anniversary being on Women's Wrestling Talk. Hard to believe I've been here for a year, but it has been very fun being a part of the team with all of you in the chat. Happy to share my own wits and any insider opportunities that I have. So it has been a fun journey, and happy to be part of the team. And who says you can't do pageants? Who says you can't love boy bands and wrestling all together? And that's something that I'm very happy to do. And I get to talk wrestling with all of you. I'm very happy I get to share my own thoughts, not just from a fan perspective, from a PR perspective. And it has been extraordinary sharing it with all of you, especially being Wednesday nights on AEW streaming. So yeah, lots has happened, but thank you guys for having me a part of the team. Thank you. But please make sure to follow not just us. Please make sure to follow the rest of our team on Women's Wrestling Talk. They are doing work. Make sure to check out my siblings, the Kayfabe podcast with Honey, Will, and Dion, because I'm sure they will be giving the top stories that have been happening later in the week. So check out with that, and make sure to follow Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great evening, be safe, and enjoy Monday Night Raw.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.